What up? It's your boy DJ Naeem. I want to give a huge shout out. Going out to my Jersey boys, breaking down these UFC cards, baby. Let's go.
Got a little mama and she chillin' by the poolside. Fashion over drip, body done with a hair tie. Ex keep calling to that boy, he need to sit back. You don't got a bag, you can never get your chick back. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, 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 yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans. Broke boys, we don't like them. Bad, 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 yeah, we pipe them. And I need some big money with some hype fans. Said I need some big money with some hype fans.
Check it. When I'm in Vegas, bring the drops out. Yeah. When I'm in Miami, bring the yachts out. Water, water.
Drew, what's up, my brother?
What's up, my brother? How we doing?
Just going great, man. Another Jersey Boys podcast, breaking down another UFC event. This week, what do we got? We got UFC Fight Night. It's in Vegas, small cage. Rozenstruik versus Gane. It'll be Saturday night. Right now, we got 12 fights. Hopefully, nothing falls out. They just replaced 2 fights in the last week, and they just replaced the fight yesterday, right? We got Cowboy Oliveira and Ramazan came in yesterday.
Yep, I'm looking at literally the line right now.
Okay, so a couple things that we want everybody to know. First of all, doing pretty well with the college betting. Myself, I was 3-0 yesterday. Probably gonna go 2-2 tonight. Unfortunately, couple losses today, but we've been doing well with the college sports. Drew, you had some NBA stuff tonight?
Yeah, I actually did. I had a NBA 3-pack every night. I always put out a 3-pack. It's pretty much like a prop package. I don't really usually lean towards winners or losers. I just go for the performances of the players, and that's what I focus on so far. In the past month, I guess, since we started doing this, I'm 20-8 so far, so doing all right. Tonight I put it out there, so if you want to check out what I put out there, see a little pink next to my name. You could just follow it, and we could make some cash. All the picks are free. Follow me, my brother here to my right, or THOP7 over on Twitter. Check out the merch, check out everything, and let's get into this card, man.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know your merch. Let's just talk about your merch real quick. I'm wearing the Jersey Boy MMA hat, which I'm a big fan of. Can't wait to wear this in Atlantic City when we go to a Ring of Combat event. You actually have a Bink hat that you created, right? It's on your website?
Yeah. So right now, I've actually, me personally, I have a brand, artsygentle.com, and what I did is pretty much create a collection for the Jersey MMA collection, pretty much. And you can find all of our hats, the Jersey MMA hat. I just put up a parlay design today. It's pretty much, for anybody who wagers or bets. We all know what a parlay is. It's for the D-gens. Yeah, but anyway. And yeah, the Bink hat, if you know me or talk to me often, you would hear that word, or you'll see that word in a lot of group chats. But yeah, man, it's all about the Binks, trying to get those dubs and having some fun. So that's what we're doing here. So check out the website, check out the Jersey MMA collection if you want to see pretty much anything with gambling or MMA oriented. So what about the quick picks, buddy?
Yeah, I was going to get it. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was Book It Sports, right? All of our bets.
Book it. That's right.
So definitely follow us on Book It Sports. If you don't know about it, that's fine. Follow us on Twitter. You'll see it's going to be in all my tweets. You can sign up. Follow us on Book It Sports. It's basically Twitter for gamblers, right? Mm-hmm. The only reason that you're really putting anything on Book It, it's an app, and it's Twitter for gamblers. So you're able to make your picks. You're able to track. A lot of MMA people want to track bets all the time. Really, I'm not that interested in it. But on Book It, it makes it easy. So again, they don't have MMA, they don't have UFC odds just yet. But I did speak to, I think his last name is Yale. I think that's how you say his Nick. I apologize if I misspoke there. But I did speak to Nick, and he said, yeah, they are going to have MMA coming up soon. So my picks will be on there for MMA. Last week, I was 4-6 with my MMA bets. I'm not talking picks. I'm talking bets. I had 10 bets. And again, this show is for people who like to bet a lot. There are some people who do show exactly, the both of us. Last week I came on the show and I said, Drew, I think I'm gonna bet on 9 of the 15 or 12 of the 15 fights. I ended up putting in 10 bets last week. And the only reason I lost for the night, I would have been up a few units. The only reason I lost is because both parlays that I had Blaydes and the straight bet with Blaydes, right? Because I had Blaydes by KO TKO. Whatever he did, he decided he was going to try to, not necessarily push for that takedown early. When he finally went for a takedown, he shot from too far out and caught an uppercut to the chin. It's amazing how well placed the strikes have been on Blaydes to knock him out, because he was out, right? He took 2 shots that he didn't need to.
It was dead on, man. And honestly, don't even feel too bad, because last week I put out a pick. I didn't update it because I just haven't been able to. But my prelim picks, I got trashed pretty much. Wasn't really too hot, but then the main event I did well. And then obviously I kind of leaned towards Blaydes in a parlay piece, as pretty much everyone I'm sure did. And got spiked for it. But just to cover my ass, I did throw in a little 2-piece parlay with Yana and Derek, which pretty much paid off. So that rounded off my night, and I was a little bit successful. Maybe plus like a unit, maybe, if that. But this week looking to rebound, and make some cash, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, so Book It Sports, definitely follow us on that. Again, the show is for the gamblers, so we're looking to place a lot of wagers. All right, if you're looking for a show that's just going to talk about the 1 or 2 bets that they have for the card, that's not us.
That's not us.
Just about all the fights. Very rare that we don't have something on every single fight, even with DFS included. And then in addition to that, last week what I did is I went back through the show. Again, Drew was on baby duty last night. We tried to get the show out Tuesday night, but he was on baby duty. We're going to try to get this show done quick, because you never know when the baby comes calling for him. He may have to relieve himself early. But with all that being said, what I did last week, Drew, is I went back over the show and I watched it on Thursday, and I picked out all the bets that we spoke about, and then I listed them under each fight. So I gave everybody a timestamp for each fight, and I put all our bets and our quick pits up there. So that's what I'm going to do again this week. I'll do that again. So let's just I know right now at the 6 minute and 30 mark, we're going to do our quick pick. So let's just go through this real quick. Quick pick, first fight, Dustin Jacoby is my quick pick. Drew, who you got?
Dustin Jacoby is your quick pick?
Yeah, that's my pick to win that.
Yeah, that fight, I didn't really think of anything between the fighters of anything. I just probably say that this fight goes the distance. That's all I have to say there. Okay,
so I'm going Jacoby, and I may put a bet on it, but I actually haven't made any bets as of now right now. Mm-hmm. Lawrence, second fight is Lawrence and Ciryl. I'm going to go Lawrence, quick pick. I actually like him a lot on DK. He is going to go for his takedown. So I think he had like 12 takedowns in his Contender Series fight. So to that end, I'm going to go Lawrence. Who you got there, Drew?
Same side, but I'm going to go a little bit with a snipe, because, with a fight like this where Ronnie is going to just take his, Vince down and just try to maul him on the ground. I try to pick out exactly how he's going to win. I don't think he puts Caceres away, so I just think he wins by decision. Probably find some plus money there.
I agree with you there too. If you want to go Lawrence decision and that's probably going to be a bet of mine. This next fight is tough, man. I feel like I've been going back and forth all week. I started on Menifield, then I was looking at Knight, and Menifield did a decent job with squashing some of the takedowns in his last fight. Or actually, it was 2 fights ago against Clark. But then again, he did gas out. But is William Knight going to try to really push the wrestling that much? So I went back and forth. I eventually went to Menifield because of Say Sayud, his coach. I just think that he's going to have him coached up in this fight. I have a great Say Sayud story. I'm sitting there covering the event in New York City. It was that January event with it was the one that TJ Dillashaw got knocked out by Triple C. And I'm sitting backstage, and Say Sayud is sitting in watching the fight. It was the Cowboy Alex Hernandez fight. So he's sitting there watching the fight, talking with John Morgan at the one table. I'm standing up like a fanboy because I bet on Cowboy. I'm covering the event for MMA India, but I bet on Cowboy. had Cowboy as an underdog, right? In all my DFS stuff. And Safe Sayu after the first round, like looks over at me and is like, "So you're a big Cowboy fan?" And he's like, "Yeah, like we're shooting the shit about Cowboy." And he goes, "Yeah, man, everybody loves Cowboy." And then of course, I think it was the second round. That's when he wound up finishing Alex Hernandez. So little story from my UFC journalism days. But who you got here, Drew? Menifield or Knight?
I just looked at the line, man, and it's pretty much a pick'em, right? And I guess nobody expects us to go the distance. So for me, I guess if I have to pick anything, I'm probably gonna go with like where are the rounds here? I don't see the rounds, but I don't think the line dropped here on the 1.5 or 2.5 rounds. But if I have to pick any of those, if it's at 2.5, I'd probably definitely go under. If it's at 1.5, I'm definitely going over. And because I'm like you, I really couldn't pick between either. I'd rather pick for a for a round prop or anything like that in that situation.
So next quick pick, Alexis Davis, Sabina Mazo. I tell you what, my issue with this is the first fight that both of these girls are fighting at 135 pounds. Mazo's a big girl. She's really big, good striker. I just don't know if she has the power. Maybe at 135 she will. But I think this is going to be dog or pass for me. If I do bet on this one, it'll be Alexis Davis. Maybe throw the decision prop, just the decision line of Davis by decision, or maybe just this fight to go to decision. Throw that into a parlay. So that's my quick pick. Drew, what do you think here?
Yeah, I was kind of going to lean that way. I'm actually looking for the line right now. Alexis Davis, it's funny you even said if you're going to lean with her. That's crazy because she's at plus 176 right now.
Yeah.
And Mazo, I guess because of her size, and honestly, to be completely honest, like you said, dog or pass. Like, I don't want to get too into this because I'm probably not even going to bet this fight. And it's weird because we did mention that we bet on everything. And if I had to bet on anything in this fight, it's probably going to be just for it to go the distance. And that's about it, man. That's really all I have to say about this fight.
All right, so we got two more quick picks here. Cowboy and Ramazan. I didn't get a chance to tape Ramazan, so I'm kind of going blind here. I'm just looking forward to a good fight, and I don't really know which way to go with this fight. So I don't want to throw something out there that I'm not even I've even tape studied. So I didn't get to tape this one. So Drew, I don't know if you've taped it. You got a lean there?
I mean, just because it was so late, replacement and everything like that, like I didn't really get to tape it the way that I would like to. Let's just say that, because I have seen Alex fight, I have seen Ramzan fight, and I guess the only thing that you can say that they're both calculated, right? You have a Russian, you have Ramzan coming into this fight. Alex Oliveira, we know what he's about, you know what he's capable of. He's very durable. So I don't think, if anything, this prop there's probably going to be plus money for it to go the distance. And for some reason, the little hairs on the back of my neck are saying this fight goes the distance. So that's where I'm probably going to lean. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the line. I could be completely wrong. But it's just what I imagined just now. So, yeah. Yeah,
and then the next fight here is Alex Hernandez and Thiago Moises. And again, quick pick here. My quick pick is going to be Alex Hernandez. My initial lean was Alex Hernandez. As I watched some tape, I just think he's the better striker, and I think he's going to be able to stay out of danger on the ground. But again, this is a really good matchup, a really good fight. Young guys, young guns. I think Alex Hernandez really kind of came full circle already in the UFC. Again, you just heard my story about me kind of cheering against him and betting against him against Cowboy. He had a great win, that quick finish of Beneil Dariush kind of put him on the map. Then he followed that up with a decision win against OAM. And then that Cowboy fight really kind of leveled him, and you could see the difference in his game plan from the Cowboy fight to the Trinaldo fight, right? Very, very, to use your word you used before, very calculated, kept good distance, didn't get in the pocket where Trinaldo could really, tee off on him. He wound up winning the fight. He got outclassed by Drew Dober, which again, Drew Dober has proved to be a very, very good fighter. So I think, Grutzemacho, he was in his way. at one point, and he ran through him, which is what he's supposed to do. Now he's got Moises. So this is a really good fight for him. I'm going to pick him to win. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Moises was able to get the victory. I just think that he's better on the feet, and I think this is going to play out on the feet. So much for quick picks, man. We didn't go quick on any of them. But what do you think here, Drew?
I was gonna say I wanted to ask you, so because I'm kind of leaning the same way, and it's only because I really like Hernandez and his rise. And Thiago Moises is not saying he's not dangerous or he can't pose a threat, but I just think this is a fight for Alexander Hernandez. It's almost like another stepping stone fight where he gets this one under his belt, and he keeps going with the rise. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, with his style, his in and out style, and pretty much like you said, he's well rounded now. I feel like he gets it done. But I wanted to ask you, what is his path to victory? How do you think he gets it done?
I think he just outpoints him. I think he's tough to hold down. So even if Moises tries to get takedowns, I don't think he's going to keep Alex Hernandez down on his back or have much top control. I think Hernandez can actually, go for a takedown, get some top control, stay out of trouble, and maybe work that top control, get a little bit of ground and pound going, but stay out of triangles or anything that Moises may have in the ground. And I think on the feet, I think he's going to outstrike him. So do I see a finish? Not necessarily. I think it kind of goes to decision, but I think it's going to be Hernandez, in a fight, point fight him to a decision win.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, because I was looking for the props right now, and
Right.
there is no line on FanDuel right now. They only have them, money line or
Right.
But there's no rounds or anything like that. So that's why I wanted to get your input on that. Because for me, again, I don't see a finish here, but I don't want to wait till the end of the fight to find out if it's going to be by decision. So that's why I was kind of seeing where that round prop was, because that's probably where I'm going to go, if anything like that.
Yeah, I mean that's more or less where I am. I wouldn't mind betting. Again, I don't have. I already have it all set up for the odds for the first fight on the main card that we're going to talk about. But I wouldn't mind betting decision depending on where that is. I wouldn't mind betting Hernandez by decision personally. Again, we're going to start looking at odds right now though. So now we'll throw out some bets. But those were really just the quick picks. So the first fight on the main card, Drew, is Bruce Leroy, Alex Caceres, and Kevin Croom, the hard-hitting hillbilly. And yes, that is his name. I didn't just make that up. I don't go around calling people hillbillies. He calls himself that. But this is a good matchup. It's going to be interesting to see where Kevin Croom is, because he kind of came into the UFC. He's got a crazy story, right? Came into the UFC on like a 1 day notice. Like usually you get like a week or 5 day notice. I believe it was 1 day notice. He came in to fight Roosevelt Roberts. Big dog. A lot of people were on Roberts, right? That was a parlay buster, definitely. And he ended up standing guillotine choke early in that fight and then popped for marijuana, right? And basically what he popped for at that time is no longer a penalty. So that took a win away from him off his record, which is huge. So I guess technically this is his second fight in the UFC. He took that fight. He was able to get the fight. I mean, I think a lot of people would take the fight even if they knew they were going to pop, just to be able to get into the UFC. And again, it's from marijuana. It's not even something that is going to get him, suspended again. Like he was suspended for something that is no longer a penalty. And again, we live in New Jersey, and it's the same kind of thing in Jersey at this point, right? You can, you're not going to get penalized for smoking marijuana on the streets these days in Jersey, and I think a lot of states are moving to that. But let's get back to this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm interested to see the fight, and I don't want to bet Bruce Leroy. I don't know if Kevin Croom. I don't know if Kevin Croom is for real. Okay, I don't know that for sure at all. But again, Bruce Leroy is going to. He has much more experience. I mean, he's been in the UFC forever. But Kevin Croom is basically just as big, same reach. And that's the thing about Bruce Leroy. Usually he has his reach, long legs, is able to keep good distance. But again, a lot of his experience is in the UFC. Kevin Croom just kind of got in there. I like Kevin Croom here by decision. Let me look at this. Fight goes to decision is -165. Croom by decision is where is it? Kroom wins by decision is plus 580. I like that a lot, Drew. So I'm gonna make that my preferred play here. That will be up on YouTube. But Kroom by decision is a way that I'm looking to bet this fight. I do like it to go to decision, but I think Kroom may be able to get some top control, maybe again the same way that he took the back on his feet versus Roosevelt Roberts. I think Caceres is a little lazy there. I think he may be able to get to his back and get that control. So, Drew, what do you think here?
All right. So, just to start with, Caceres is good. Obviously, we already know who Bruce Leroy is. We already know what he's about. He's been in the game for a while, 17-12. He's awesome. He's been evolving even still at 17-12, and with all the experience that he does have, he's still evolving, and his striking has gotten a little bit better because that was something that was kind of not lacking in a sense because he's always been a good striker, but it just wasn't like, to me, it wasn't a strike. He was very hittable, and now his movement is better. His footwork is better, and it feels like Kevin Kroom, right, can be that guy where now don't be surprised if all that plus money or all the plus lines that are on Kevin Kroom right now end up being favorited or very close to minus money or anything like that closer to the fight. Only because when people start realizing who Kevin Kroom is and how durable and how tough he is on the ground, he's not just going to get put out, just like Alex Caceres tries to get people on the ground and then he'll get a rear naked choke win I think he's got like 2 of them in his resume. He has 8 submission wins. Don't get me wrong. But he's not somebody who tries to put you out on the ground anyway. He's very opportunist when it comes to the ground submission and catching those dubs. Now, Kevin Kroom, on the other hand, I've seen him deep in submission in the tape study that I was doing, and he came out very durable. He came out 2 times. He was locked one time in a dart choke and another time in a rear naked choke that were dead to rights with anybody else taps. And the second time when he was in the rear naked choke, he not only got out of it, he put the other guy in the rear naked choke and finished him. And if you look at something that's interesting with Caceres and his records, there's more than a couple fights where he loses by rear naked choke. So it's interesting that you said that he can get back control just the same way he got on Roosevelt Roberts, and control that, because now remember, he's a hard hitting hillbilly, and what's weird about how hard he hits is that he doesn't really like put any real momentum behind the punch. Like, it almost looks like it shouldn't even be hitting that hard, and he just touches you and you'll go down.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But I feel like the reason I say that is because when he takes people to the ground, he's not taking you to the ground with a takedown. It's after you've gotten smacked with that left hand that he has, and then you end up on the ground, and then we start grappling. So that's where I feel like this fight can probably go. I mean, I don't know if he's going to catch Alex, but Alex Caceres in the past has been very hittable. Don't get me wrong. And against grapplers, like we saw against Kron Gracie, like we've seen a couple other times, he is susceptible to being choked out. So, and Kevin Kroom himself said in an interview that he doesn't see this fight going past a second. So that finish prop or that decision prop, that's where I kind of see it, maybe. I'm a sucker for those decisions because there's always usually plus money. But in this one, I kind of see Kevin Kroom winning by a sub. That's just what the little hairs on the back of my neck say. So, that's, some money will be sprinkled on that for sure.
How do those bets turn out when those little hairs on the back of your neck? Because you've said that a few times tonight. Do those bets turn out right?
I mean, Derek Lewis and Yana hit, so.
Ooh, that's right. You had that parlay last week. Yeah. Captain Parlay. Wait till you see the parlay hat and shirt that he's made up.
Oh, wait. And also, don't forget about Minner. I did say Minner was going to win last week, and you were heavy on Rosa. Everyone was heavy on Rosa. And I did say Minner was going to win. I did say it.
Listen, buddy. You're right about that one. But we made a wager on air last week. And who won that wager?
Well, Derek Lewis ruined that. But yeah, whatever.
No, I don't want to hear about who ruined it. Who won the wager? We made an on-air wager. And did I or did I not win?
Yeah, you won. Okay. Good job, man.
You let me know what fight you want to wager on air this week when we argue about something. It'll be an on-air wager because I'm 1-0 on air right now, so you can talk all that nonsense.
All right, I got one coming.
All right, we got one. So Angela Hill and Ashley Yoder, Overkill Hill and the Spider Monkey Yoder. Hill is up to like minus 360 in some spots.
Yeah.
This fight, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't see putting minus 360. If you want to play it in a parlay, that's up to you. I think she's going to wind up winning this fight. She's already beat Yoder, I think, in 2017. So she beat her about 3 years ago. Hill is very active, right? She fought like 4 or 5 times last year. Yoder hasn't fought in a while, but I think Hill is more active. Hill Ashley Yoder is going to have a height and reach advantage, 4 inches of height and 5 inches of reach, based on what I'm seeing here on Tapology. When I was tape studying it, I knew there was a reach. I didn't know it was that drastic. But yeah, I like Hill here. I like her by decision. I wouldn't mind taking her by decision. I think it's minus 150, minus 155. So Hill by decision, I think, is the way that I'm going to wind up betting this fight. Again, I'll have my exposure there. If you want to put her in a parlay, I think she's safe to win. I wouldn't be overly concerned with her winning. I don't know where else you would want to parlay it, but that's my breakdown here. I think she's going to wind up, basically being able to point fight her, keep this on the the feet for the better part of 3 rounds. And Yoder's going to have to probably win 2 rounds by getting control on the ground. And I think Hill's wrestling and BJJ defense is going to be good enough to be able to get out of any chokes that Yoder tries to put on her. So I'm going Angela Hill here, probably by decision. Drew, what do you think?
It's going to be pretty hard to go against Angela Hill in this fight. And what's interesting is that, the Angela Hill that we saw 3 years ago when she fought Ashley Yoder is not the Angela Hill we see today. The Angela Hill today we see is someone who's fired up, who's someone who's very confident in herself, someone who's almost like you can say found herself in the UFC and in that division right now. Her momentum's great. Right now, like you said, she's very active. I think she fought like twice in 1 month, if I'm not mistaken. Like she's putting in work. And I feel like, maybe Angela Hill 3 years ago when she won by decision, correct? I feel like this time she might get the finish, and that's only because of how much she's grown as a fighter, the evolution of her game. Her striking is a lot sharper. She seems to have a little bit more power behind her shots now. And if anything, if this goes to the ground, I see Angela Hill probably getting the control factor on the ground and just being dominant. So yeah, you can bet for this fight to go to the decision. So if anything, because I kind of do see a finish, I'm going to get a little spicy and probably say Angela Hill KO or points. So that's a double chance bet on FanDuel.
Do you know what those odds are on FanDuel?
I'm going to look for it right now because FanDuel, for some reason, isn't like putting out all like their bets.
Right.
I guess it's still too early, but let's see if they have anything for that. So Yoder's at plus 285, obviously.
Yeah, I just put the odds up there. I'll zoom in a little bit. I think it may be tough to see. But Hill's minus 360. Yeah,
and she's minus 300 to win KO or on points. So people are already smashing that.
I think that's very safe because I think that everyone thinks she's going to win by decision. I think everyone basically knows she's not winning by sub. So if she's winning, it's going to more or less be a very similar line. I mean, you get better odds, minus 300. So maybe throw that in a parlay, KO or points. Throw that one in a parlay, you may be better off.
I think that might be the move right there because 360 is just a little bit too high. I don't
get
like
it down
that.
to 300. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
All right. So this next fight, I love this next fight, man.
Oh man.
Rivera and Pedro Munhoz. This is what we were supposed to see this a few weeks ago. We lost it like the day before, the day of the fight, and then and I think that was the second time. So this is the third time it's been put out there.
Scheduled,
I think that this is going to be very similar to Pedro Munhoz and Frankie Edgar. And again, that was the card. That was the Edgar card, right? That was when this fight was supposed to be done a few weeks ago. That was when Sandhagen wound up flooring Edgar, right? And in preparation for that, I watched Frankie Edgar and Pedro Munhoz, that fight. And again, every single time Pedro Munhoz threw, he was just trying to get Frankie Edgar out of there, right? He would throw a big roundhouse, big hook, big right hand. That's when I said big roundhouse. I meant big right hand. And was just trying to get Frankie out of there. He also really did some damage with the leg kicks, if you remember in that fight. He had Frankie hurt with those leg kicks. But again, who has better leg kicks here, Pedro Munhoz or Jimmy Rivera? I mean, Jimmy Rivera, in terms of boxing, his leg kicks, and then take it the next step, his wrestling, like, unless you're gonna Marlon Moraes him and catch him, with a high kick early in the fight, I don't know how Pedro Munhoz beats him. I mean, Jimmy Rivera has a very good chin, and it really hasn't been tested that much. I mean, let's be honest, Marlon Moraes caught him with the perfect leg kick, kind of on the top of the head, right, like top side of the head, and put him down and finished him. Other than that, I mean, Jimmy Rivera he's fought everybody. He's 23-4, fighting out of Jersey. So again, Jersey Boys podcast. He's 31 years old. He's a Tiger Schulman's guy. So he trains with like Mike Trezano trains at Tiger Schulman's. Who are the other? I'm thinking about two other guys. I can see their face and I can't think of their names. But I mean, killers over there. And like he went to decision with Peter Yan. He went to decision with Aljamain Sterling. Got a head kick, lost to Marlon Moraes. Like he is as tough as they come and has fought everybody in the division. Beat Uriah Faber. Beat Pedro Munhoz already. So this is a rematch. You know what I mean? I'm just looking up and down. I forgot that this was a rematch. He's beat everybody. Like the guy is legit on his feet. I'm going to go Jimmy Rivera. And the way to bet this, I think, is Jimmy Rivera by decision. I really like it to go to decision because I do think Munhoz has a good chin and he's very tough. And I think that this will play out a little bit on the ground. I think that Munhoz is going to try to get it to the ground at some point. Jimmy Rivera, I think, is going to be able to stay out of harm's way. I really the only choke I'm really concerned about is that guillotine, right? If he puts his head on the wrong side and gets into Munhoz's guillotine, it could be lights out. But I'm going Jimmy Rivera, Joe. What do you think here, bro?
This one's a little rough, man. Because I kind of like both of them. What's up? Heads up? I think we are.
All right.
I think we might be, and it's only because I see that Pedro just has a lot of traps for Jimmy, and it's only because Jimmy, we all know his wrestling, that's great. We all know that calf kick that he has, it's devastating. But I just feel like Pedro has a good leg kick. He throws everything with bad intentions, and he's trying to end your night every single time that he throws at you. Jimmy Rivera, we have seen that he's very hittable in the past. We have seen that he's durable, and when you're known for being durable, it's because you get hit a lot. And he's been hit. Now, not saying that his game hasn't evolved, because everybody has evolved since the last time they fought each other, especially this time. So this is why I see Pedro a little bit more. For me, at least, I'm leaning a little bit more Pedro, and that's because I feel like in this fight he learned from his mistake in the first fight. And this fight, I feel like when it gets to the ground, because it will get to the ground, that's probably where it's going to end for Jimmy.
Oh, so you think that this fight is going to end? Okay, all right, tough guy. So let's put it this way. I'm going to go Jimmy Rivera by decision. So let's just. And I'm going to go because if we're going to go straight up, we should at least pick something that's similar odds, right?
Yeah, good.
All right, so let's look at the odds real quick. So if we're gonna go, let me put this into the stream so everybody can see as we go straight up here. So if we're looking at these odds, I'm gonna have to zoom in, right? Zoom in more for everybody. So I'm gonna go Jimmy Rivera, and I'm gonna go by decision. So I'm going Jimmy by decision. Rivera wins by decision is plus 100. I like that a lot. So Rivera by decision is plus 100. So it's only fair if you pick something that's plus 100. So you think Munhoz wins by sub? You want a Munhoz double chance? Munhoz double chance is probably sub or decision.
I was gonna say Munhoz double chance. Look up what that looks like. Just period.
I don't think they have double chance on here.
All right, let me look at it right here then, because I have my FanDuel opened up here. I hope they have the odds because for some of these fights, they only have like the money line pick.
Look that up. I'll tell you what. There's another fight on here that I like a lot. I know he thinks that this may finish, but I think over 2.5 rounds is a nice number. A fight goes to decision. So I wouldn't mind doing a double chance on who was the last fight that we just spoke about? That was Angela Hill, right? I wouldn't mind a double chance on Angela Hill, knockout or decision, -300, and then you could even parlay that with Rivera Munhoz over 2.5 rounds or fight goes to decision. I think that's a nice little parlay that'll get you close to even money there. So, Drew, you got that number for us?
Pedro Munhoz by KO, TKO, or on points, +155, or something that I just saw right now, and this is like the DGen that just hopped out at me, and I know I can't bet this because it's not close to your number right now, so I'm not going to take that in my straight up. But it would be the Pedro Munhoz KO, TKO, or submission. Because it's not, let's not forget, not even for a second, that Pedro Munhoz has dynamite in his right hand, and he will blast your head off with it. And he's very durable. And when I say that, like I just mentioned earlier, it's because you can take punches. And we saw, for a perfect example, when he fought Cody Garbrandt, where they literally, Cody, I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he got baited into a firefight and lost. Very bad.
It's real tough to bait Cody Garbrandt into a firefight. That would never happen.
But I don't understand why, man. You're doing amazing. You're picking everyone apart, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me just go balls to the wall the last 30 seconds and get my head taken off. But whatever, man. I digress. Pedro Munhoz, for me personally, the DGen inside is probably going to throw a little bit of money on the +330, just because I'm a sicko and I really like that. But if I want to take my straight up bet with you, sir, I'm probably going to lean just because it's closer to your number, and I feel like this fight will be on the feet more because I don't think Jimmy really wants to take it to the ground that much. That's what I was trying to say. Jimmy has a lot of traps to stay away from, and it's on the ground, and it's on the and it's on the feet, because don't get me wrong, it's not like Pedro Munhoz, if he touches you, he can't hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So in this fight, it's pick your poison, and it's poison up or down. So I feel like Pedro Munhoz, it will get it done. So I'll probably go with the KO, TKO on points at +155, sir, if that's allowed. And I'm going to take your money. Thanks.
All right. Listen, we're heads up. I expect to be.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Yeah, that's it. I'll take that.
All right. So, I mean, I expect to be 2-0 after this week, so that's all I'm going to tell you. This next fight, I'll tell you what, man. This is one of those fights that I probably will not be betting. And I don't have a strong lean. I don't trust anybody. I really want to fight. I should introduce the fight first, right? So it's Montana De La Rosa, 26 years old, basically away from her husband and daughter right now as she trains, getting ready for this fight, versus Mayra Bueno Silva. I mean, this fight's at 125 pounds. Silva is a slight favorite, -125. I mean, there's nothing to really dislike in Silva's game, as far as I'm concerned. When in this matchup, do I think she's better everywhere? No, but I think that she can win rounds. I think Montana De La Rosa can use her wrestling if she wants to go that avenue. But I just think that. I don't think that either one of these girls are very good. I think they both have to get better to get up to the top of the division, if that's even attainable for them. But I don't trust either girl here to really impose their will on the other girl. So it's like, to me, I guess it's a toss-up fight. So if I'm going to bet anybody, it would be Montana De La Rosa. I don't think she's going to sub her. I don't think she's going to knock her out. So I guess it would be Montana by decision. Drew, as I send it to you, I'll check that prop. But, again, I got to have some money on this fight once it starts. So that's probably where I'll go on this fight. Montana De La Rosa, half a unit by decision. What are you thinking, brother?
You know what? I wish I could go against you just because I like bumping heads. But this one, sadly, I'm probably gonna have to agree with you and make it a boring pick, for the fans, because I always feel like it's a lot more fun when me and you bump heads because I lose money, you win, and everybody's happy. So Jersey MMA, we keep rocking. But here in this spot, I'm picking Montana De La Rosa, and something that I'm gonna start just to let the fans know. You hear Steve call me Captain Parlay every week, all the time, and in our group chats, I'm always talking shit. I do love parlays, and I'm gonna start giving out a sick parlay because every week I see a bunch of cappers and people put it out crazy parlays and crazy numbers or whatever. Well, my 2-teamer parlay last week that hit was like plus 3,000 or some crazy shit like that. And thank you for that hit, Derek Lewis. This week, I have a crazy parlay, and I'm going to be putting out a crazy parlay every week. I'm not going to say it now. I'll say it at the end of the show, but just giving you guys a heads up. Nice. So, back to this fight, though. Montana De La Rosa, the reason why I feel like she gets it done is because of the reason why you even said right at the beginning, because of her motivation, because of where her headspace is at. Right now, she has a lot of good things going on for her in her camp. She has a mental headspace coach, literally, that talks to her every day, make sure she's in the right mindset, and actually being away from her family in this fight is probably something that's going to be a plus, only because of the motivation to make the payoff worth it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be away from your family, especially as a mother. A mother who tends to her kid every single day and is around her kid every single day. To not be near your child is probably nerve-wracking, man. And it's crazy just because I know from experience, me being a dad and knowing how close my son is with my girl. So it's something that for me, I feel like this fight, it's not even about the styles or anything like that. I don't think Mayra has anything that, she is the favorite here. That's only because I feel like people are thinking that she might get this done by dominating on the ground or maybe dominating just the entire fight. But I don't feel that that's going to happen. I don't feel like she's going to be able to dominate Montana. And I feel like Montana is going to probably use her wrestling, get it done. I mean, she has been working with Rose in this camp. So if that says anything, she has a lot of good people in her camp right now, giving her good work. And I feel like just where she's at right now, I know, she got beat to a pulp when she fought at Araujo. But again, that fight, that can happen to anybody. She just had a bad night, but matchups make fights. And this one, I feel like Montana being a dog at plus 118 is probably a good spot. If you want to throw her in like in a little small parlay, 2-teamer, 3-teamer, preferably, maybe that might work. But if I have to pick straight up, I'm picking Montana by decision, just like you, bud.
So again, I think you need to understand that I try to get my parlays to about even money, maybe a little bit of plus money. Drew tries to get like my plus 2,000, plus 3,000. So again, what did you hit last week? Derek Lewis
and Yana.
So that was his parlay last week. Like he's nuts with this stuff, but he hits them. So whatever. I mean, it's a fight. Anything can happen in a fight, right? We're just going by what we've seen before. That's the thing. These reads that we have and anybody else has that watches fights, we're going based on what we've seen before. We don't expect anything. I mean, that's part of the problem, right? We're making the reads based on what we've seen. So the expectation of what they're capable of or what's going to happen in this fight is basically off. If you've never won a fight by submission, what makes anyone think that they're going to win this fight by submission? Yet they get somebody hurt on the feet, they get them exhausted and tired. Now they're laying on the ground. All of a sudden, you're looking for that submission because it just presents itself. So again, that's why this game, the fight game, is outstanding. As Conor McGregor says all the time, the fight game. Love this game, man. Just love it. But Drew, I'll tell you something else before we move on, man. I think I'm going to have a second bet on this fight. I think I talked myself into the Montana De La Rosa. And again, I didn't really look at odds, right? I start taping these fights all week and figuring out where I want to be on these fights. And I'm looking at the odds more or less now. So we're figuring this out on air here. Mm-hmm. I like Montana De La Rosa by decision. I think that number is fine. I'll take that plus money. And then over 2.5 rounds is minus 235. Fight goes to decision is minus 195. I don't mind that at all. I think this fight is going to go to decision. I think their BJJ, unless someone gets hurt on the feet, I think their BJJ is going to nullify itself. Offensively and defensively, they're going to be able to basically use it to threaten and get themselves out of bad spots. And if that's the case, and they're somewhat even on the feet, I think Montana may be able to get her just with the wrestling, maybe a little bit of top control. But for the most part, I think it's going to go to decision. So minus 195, that's a nice number to throw into a parlay. A nice, short number to throw into a parlay. Not a minus 250, minus 300, minus 400. So I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But enough with that fight. Let's get to this next fight, Drew. We are at our co-main event of the evening. That's my Bruce Buffer right there. Nikita Krylov and Magomed Ankalaev. And I'll be honest with you, when I watched this, Nikita's had 2 stints in the UFC. He's looked decent in a lot of his fights. But Ankalaev, after that one slip up that he had, he came into the UFC, big hype train, and he basically should be undefeated right now. Let's be completely honest. That fight against Paul Craig, I'm looking on Tapology right now. It says 4 minutes and 59 seconds when the referee, I guess he tapped and the referee, I'm pretty sure he did tap. Yeah, he did tap in that one, right? Because the referee, he didn't go out. So he tapped with 1 second left. After the fight, there was some talk, if I remember, correctly, that he thought that, the clock was already done, so maybe he didn't really mean to tap. He did it or whatever. But Paul Craig tapped him with 1 second to go. All right, triangle choke. With that being said, he's run through everybody that he's fought after that. He's looked great. He should be 15-0, right? He lost probably – Paul Craig was Paul Craig got run through. So that fight was – he should be 15-0. And then Ian Cutelaba, he beat twice in the first round. He beat him once where Cutelaba said, he wasn't out. He was kind of playing possum. The second one, there was no possum. He knocked Ian Cutelaba out. And I think that this guy is a problem. I think that he could be the champ in this weight class. I think he's that good. And right now, I think he's just going to outclass Nikita Krylov. Now, with all that being said, I think that I got to pick a way to – so I'm definitely going Ankalaev to win. I think that he can finish this fight on the feet. So I wouldn't mind a double chance here. I wouldn't mind on the feet or knockout or decision. That's what I'm going with. Ankalaev, knockout or decision. I'm going to look up those odds, and Drew, I'm going to throw it to you, and then maybe you can even find those odds on FanDuel because that's my bet here.
I'm actually looking for them right now as we speak. So on this fight, I'm pretty much leaning the same way that you are. Again, I wish I can pick against you, but I just don't see Magomed losing here, man. Like that Paul Craig fight was pretty much something that it's almost like the way that Croom won, right? You would never expect that in a million years. You weren't going to expect Magomed to lose there. A lot of people probably lost money that night just off that. So for me, if I have to pick any type of method of victory here, it's funny, right? Magomed by KO TKO. Ready for this? Minus 110. Magomed by points. Plus 290. Plus 290. So if you're looking for a spot, right? And then Magomed by submission. Now, don't get me wrong. Magomed, I feel like he's such a well-rounded fighter that he can win any which way that he wanted to. The way that he's going to win possibly is by knockout. Why? Because he's the cleaner and sharper striker here. Right. But at the same time, though, Magomed is somebody who doesn't sub anybody. He doesn't have any subs on his record. But in the same breath, he really only knocks people out or puts people away because he's just chipping you up, man. He's just piecing you up. He's just better than you. He's outclassing you most of the time. And a lot of people, from what I've heard in interviews, from what I've heard in talk shows and what I've heard anything, this guy's the future champ. And you're right. He should have still been undefeated, 15-0 right now. So what I really like, and I can't stay away from it. I don't know. I mean, Nikita, the reason why I guess you can see him getting KO'd is because of his gas tank. People are going to say that he will gas, but this is a 3-round fight, right? Oh, no, it's 5. right?
No,
No, 3-5, 3-5, 3-5. Sorry, 3-5. So yeah, so plus 290 by points. That's gonna be kind of hard for me to stay away from, possibly, and that's probably where I'm gonna lean, if anything, just for this one. But if anything, I'm gonna lean a couple ways. Don't get me wrong. And Magomed by points is just one of them at plus 290. But here I'd probably have to go with Magomed, just obviously because he's the winner. But laying down minus 375, not ever am I doing that. So I'd probably have to go the double chance route, just like you. And again, now check this out. If you're a believer out there, and if you're watching now, you can comment and let us know exactly how you think this fight is going to end. But the Magomed by KO or submission double chance is at minus 145. Now, like you said, if you think he's going to get this job done and get the finish, that's your value. That's your spot. That's where you attack at minus 145 right there. KO, TKO, or submission on FanDuel, double chance. It's better than the KO, TKO, or points, which is at minus 300. Again, minus 300, like we mentioned earlier in an earlier fight, it could be a good spot for a parlay piece because it's better than 375. I mean, you are pretty sure, 100% sure, that Magomed is going to get this dub, right? It almost feels like it, but how? That's the whole matter. And I feel like he's just going to dominate and get the dub in that matter.
I tell you some things that I like, man. I just went through the Tapology and went back to more than the fights that I just watched. Because the last two fights he fought went to decision.
Mm-hmm.
Krylov was in 17 fights in a row that finished, whether he won or lost, finished. And none of them really saw the third round. His last two fights in the UFC went to decision. So that's interesting. Maybe he's kind of turned a corner. He realizes like he wants to stay in the UFC. He's fighting a little more cautious. And Ankalaev is the kind of guy that whether you're fighting cautious or not, I mean, you're trying to fight cautious. All of a sudden, there's a quick left foot comes up to your chin, and you could be doing the chicken dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Atlantic City. You know what I mean? So, we were all there. We were cage side, Drew. We saw it.
Yeah.
It happened. I thought I was losing money on that one, but luckily he pulled it out. But Ankalaev is that kind of fighter. But I'll be honest with you, I feel a decision here. Fight goes to decision is plus 160. Over 2.5 rounds is plus 115. Even a parlay piece of over 1.5 rounds minus 150. If you want to go fight starts round 2 is minus 225. If you want to do that, just based on the fact that Krylov's 2 in a row has gone to decision, that's something that you can throw in a parlay with Angela Hill double chance minus 300. You know what I mean? So that's I don't mind those pieces. I'll put those pieces up on YouTube by all means. Look in the show notes of our YouTube show, and I'll put all the fights I suggested, all the odds I've suggested, all the odds that Drew suggested. I'll write them down and I'll put them up there. All right, so you can do that there. Drew, anything else you like here before we go to the main event?
No. I'm over here writing down my 2 parlays that I'm going to give to the people so they can get really rich off $10. So
you want to start this main event? You want me to introduce it? You start it?
Yeah, bro, just introduce it. Let us know who's fighting.
Yeah. I'll introduce it to everybody, and then you. I'm interested to get your take on this. So this is 2 guys that are really somewhat newcomers to the UFC. Don't have a ton of experience. I guess still somewhat young for heavyweights because heavyweights do fight into their LD years. But Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Ciryl Gane. And Rozenstruik is 11-1. His only loss is to Francis Ngannou, and it was a knockout, and it happened early in the fight. Some would argue he probably should have 2 losses if he doesn't catch Alistair Overeem in the last 10 or 15 seconds of that fight. He probably has 2 losses. Alistair probably beats him by decision there. And then Ciryl Gane is 7-0. Again, I think that Rozenstruik has definitely fought. I mean, not even think. I mean, I know he's fought the better competition. You're talking about a guy in Ciryl Gane who, I think they were trying to slowly get him into a position to be top 10, top 5. He hasn't really fought anybody, right? Pessoa, Mays, Tanner Bozer, who's a good fighter, but very cautious and stayed in the fight. And then he was able to knock out Junior Dos Santos, which is the big win against an aging veteran. But again, I think we all know that his chin was suspect, so he couldn't take that kind of punishment. So this is a big test for Ciryl Gane. So Drew, I said I'm going to throw it to you. Let me throw it to you right now, brother. What do you think?
So this is a weird fight, right? Because it's like you almost see the similarities of Ciryl Gane and like a young Alistair. You know what I'm saying? Like where he's big, he's mobile, he has the power, and he can pretty much beat you any which way. Minus the whole submission game, which is what Ciryl Gane has up his sleeve. See, Alistair, we all know what he's about. Power, he's the GOAT, man. Right? Not literally the GOAT, but for what he's done and for what he's done for the game, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. So that's where my respect goes to him. But Ciryl Gane in this strength, if he just stays away from the power of Jairzinho, I don't see this being a hard fight for him. I mean, obviously Jairzinho has the advantage here when it comes to experience, because don't forget, Jairzinho has a kickboxing background, which is very extensive. And he has a lot of wins in the fight game, just pretty much outright. Like if you want to combine all his records, I know in the UFC he's 11-1, but overall, man, he's had an extensive kickboxing career, like I mentioned earlier, and I feel like that's where in this fight that's going to be a bit of a difference, or better said, not a big of a difference, but it's going to make the difference for Jairzinho. Because Jairzinho is going to lean on his experience and not go out there just to try to finish this fight. Remember, it's 5 rounds. And Ciryl Gane, he has pretty much the full package, man. He can take you down. He can beat you up. He freaking heel hook somebody, I think, which, like, by all respect, when I saw that, I almost lost my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see a big guy like that fall back for a heel hook. I don't know what the line is on that, but if you can find the line of Ciryl Gane to win by submission, that might be one of the ways that he nullifies Jairzinho here. Because Jairzinho, he has all the power. We know that. He's literally right up there with 1, 2, 3 of the power hitters when it comes to Jairzinho. He can literally light you up with just a touch. It only needs 1 second, one opening. And that's the reason why he doesn't have that much volume when he fights, because he's only looking for that one punch. He's only looking for that right shot, for that right setup to put you to sleep, which, in my opinion, comes from that kickboxing background, which, yeah, you throw a lot, but in kickboxing, you're looking for that right spot. You're looking for those points. You know what I'm saying? So here, you're not point fighting in this sense because you're heavyweights. So heavyweights, who's really looking to go to the decision? I don't think anybody thinks this fight's going to decision. But let's not forget, Jairzinho has 10 fights in his kickboxing career, or his career period, where he has gone to decision. Hasn't been much in the UFC, but he has gone to decision before. Now, would I pick Jairzinho to win by decision? Yes, I'm a sicko, but I don't think that's going to happen here. I think this fight is just going to be a fight where Ciryl has to duck a lot of bombs. And I don't say that because of volume. I'm just saying because every single punch that Jairzinho throws is fight-ending potential. So he just needs to stick to his game plan. In my opinion, take this fight to the ground. Because I don't think, he can stand and bang, but if he wants to, play with measuring stick game, he's going to lose very badly. So I don't think he needs to do that. But if you want to play safe, I'm probably going to lean towards Ciryl here. Gane, and that's just because of his overall body of work, man. I just feel like he's the better fighter here, because of his movement, because of how fast he can get in and out, because of how fast he is for his size. And he's 7-0, yeah, but I just feel like the world is going to start to know who he is right here once he gets past Rozenstruik. So yeah, dude, Ciryl Gane by probably decision. And honestly, it's weird because I've heard a lot of people say that they want to stay away from these fights, and I understand why you would want to stay away from this fight. But me personally, if you want to stay away from anything, just pick that this fight is going to end by KO or TKO. Could happen. That's probably it, or just in the distance. That's pretty much all you can probably pick.
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you just mentioned the bet that I don't think is up on best fight odds, but you can find that on DraftKings and FanDuel that the fight will end by KO TKO. You can bet that. I don't think we can get that bet here, so I can't show you odds. But Drew, I wanted to show your attention. Gane wins by submission is plus 450. I just looked for that because you made reference to that. I tell you some of the bets that I do like, and I agree with that. I don't even know how many of these fights did I even call to finish. I think we're going to get a lot of decisions here. So with that being said, I'll be honest with you, I was surprised. I didn't realize Gane was a minus 265 favorite here. Wow. I thought this was a closer fight. With that, knowing that now, I think Rozenstruik. Let me see what Rozenstruik is by KO TKO. I just think the value is there, man. Rozenstruik wins by KO TKO plus 315. I like that more than I like Derek Lewis knockout. Even after seeing Derek Lewis knock out Blaydes, I still like Rozenstruik wins by KO TKO more than Derek Lewis knocking out Blaydes again. You know what I mean? Like I cannot believe that Curtis Blaydes lost a fight before getting a takedown. I can understand him losing a fight, but how do you lose a fight before at least getting a takedown?
That's a crazy stat.
You know what I'm saying? And it got to the second round. So that got to the second round, didn't secure a takedown, and lost the fight. If you would have told me that before last weekend, I would have – I mean, that had to be minus 2,000, that bet. Or I should say plus 2,500. I mean, I would have – anything in the world, minus 2,000 to think that, you know, that would not be – if you told me it got to the second round, Blaydes wins the fight.
Yeah,
2 or 3 takedowns in the first fight, or in the first round, at least one, and a lot of time control. So
he got none and then got slept.
Yeah, man, I'm fumbling all over my words because I'm in shock. I couldn't even believe it. But I tell you one thing about Gane, man. Go back to the fight with Tanner Boser. Gane got himself in the pocket, and Boser was able to hit him hard a couple times. Boser just doesn't have knockout power, but I think if Gane plays that, again, he may fight a little bit more cautious. If I were his coach, I would definitely not mess around and get himself caught in the pocket. But he kind of jumps forward to strike and then ends up in the pocket and having to like duck out of the way. Now, don't get me wrong; he'll be able to duck out of the way in round one. He'll be fast to all his senses. But once he gets a little tired, a little fatigued later in the fights, rounds 2, round 3. If he doesn't get his head out of the way when he's in the pocket like that, like Biggie Boy can take his head off. So I think Gane's going to win the fight, but I think the value here is on Rozenstruik and by KO TKO at what was that, plus 315? That's going to be a bet that I'll give out right now. Again, I'm going to put that in the show notes. All the bets will be in the show notes for this week. Drew, I wanted to throw up. While you were talking before, I just put it up on the screen. Book It Sports, download now. All right, you can get some Book It Sports. It's basically social media and sports betting. Again, MMA is not on there yet, but as I talked to Nick said that it will be on there. I emailed him the other day, and I told him, I said, I'd love to promote on our show. I think the app is great. I wish I would have invested. I wish I'd been one of those investors at the beginning. I love everything about the app. So if you're a gambler, definitely be into it. Drew, send us off here. Last thoughts, and then I'll get right to the closing. What do you think?
Yeah, so my last thoughts are going to be my 2 D-Gem parlays for everybody. I did say it's going to be 1 per week, but because this is the grand choosing and our grand choice, or at the beginning of this, I'm going to go with 2. So Jersey MMA this week, Captain Parlay. If you can throw a little bit of money on Rosa leg 1 at plus 118, Munhoz leg 2 at plus 124, and Rozenstruik at plus 225 to round us out at a nice and beautiful number of plus 1487.
I like that one.
So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be your number 1 D-Gen play. And then number 2 is going to be...
Everybody knows, Drew, when you're done, can you take a picture of that, send it to me, and I'll put it in the show notes. So everybody
of
can
course.
get your numbers in the show notes if they want. Go ahead, give us that second one, brother.
Yeah, of course. And then the second one is going to be a little bit more mild, not as spicy. It's going to be Lawrence at -170. It was one of the fights we spoke about earlier. Hernandez at -188. I just really like Hernandez here to get it done.
Yes,
Gane at -290. I just feel like I said earlier, Gane is such a piece that all he really has to do is not get hit. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to get hit, but just not get blasted so hard or not get hit perfect where he gets put to sleep. If he does that, I feel like he's going to maintain and honestly maintain and possibly even get the finish on the ground, just like I said, because if you're fighting someone with power, right, you take him to the ground, you nullify that power, probably sit back and hit another heel hook, or whatever. But I just feel like he knows what he's up against. He knows that this is a huge main event opportunity for him. He's 7-0. He doesn't want to lose in the UFC, in the biggest show in the world. So that's why I picked him here. And then I'm going to round out that whole 4-leg parlay with Ankalaev just to get it done by decision, right? And that's going to round me up at +314. So little degen either way. You can go full degen at +1,487 or, mild degen at +314 and still come up a little bit of money, whichever way you go.
I feel like the only thing that would have said that a little bit better is if you would have had your Bink hat on. If you had your Bink hat, then we...
What up? It's your boy DJ Naeem. I want to give a huge shout out. Going out to my Jersey boys, breaking down these UFC cards, baby. Let's go.
Got a little mama and she chillin' by the poolside. Fashion over drip, body done with a hair tie. Ex keep calling, tell that boy he need to sit back. You don't